Dr. Oz is running for office for Senate in Pennsylvania. Now, this story, there's a lot of surprising bits in this. So first of all, that he's running in Pennsylvania when he doesn't live there. It's not a state that he lives in. But Dr. Oz, he's the celebrity physician who you probably years ago saw on TV, and he was telling you to like eat a bean for diabetes or something. I don't know. I didn't watch much of it, but yeah, he was popular for a long time because he was on Oprah. So why not run as a Republican for Senate eventually? I mean, they lost Sean Parnell, JR, the guy who allegedly choked his wife, ordered her out of a car so she'd go get an abortion, and just lost custody of his kids. So they needed like a serious safe bet. And I think they've found it in Dr. Oz. We're gonna give you some of his past medical, because that's his whole thing, is that he's a doctor. We're gonna give you some of his medical advice, but what do you think about this candidacy?
I would love to go back and ask myself, so what do you think about in 2021 when Dr. Oz is running for office after Donald Trump just lost and after a worldwide pandemic just hit that Donald Trump didn't do anything about, and many hundreds of thousands of Americans died and millions across the world? I would go, oh man, I moved a long time ago when this started happening. But it's weird because we're right, we're just sitting in this and we're watching Dr. Oz run for office in a state he doesn't live in, and we're just like moving along to the next, and it's just normal because it is now. It's not abnormal. It is normal now.
It's just like, just have a celebrity. Just, oh yeah, no, Dr. Oz, I've heard that name. Look, what is it next? Dr. Doolittle, Dr. Doom, just anybody who happened to be on TV and like, well, it is a public health crisis, so I suppose we should have a doctor. Even if that doctor, for instance, you know what? Let's jump right into this video. Here is what he had to say early on in the pandemic about COVID.
Oftentimes they think they have coronavirus because they're so anxious about it. So every small little symptom, they don't quite smell as well this morning as they did yesterday. They think they have it. They have a little cough, a little bellyache. And again, I don't want to downplay these issues because they may actually have coronavirus because people have very mild symptoms often. But the panic attack is devastating, and it is a physical problem. It's not just in your head, your whole body, the rapid palpitations, the sweating, the feeling that the world is closing in around you. And these symptoms can cause all kinds of detrimental effects, which is why I think a lot of doctors now are feeling that the worry and the panic about coronavirus is going to be worse than the actual coronavirus for them.
Yeah, I don't think so, though. I think probably not. Now, look, that was only a couple weeks into the lockdown. That was in late March of last year. But his whole thing is that he's a doctor and he's supposed to get this better than us. And he was going on Fox to say, oh, you're panicking about this. And that at the end of the day is the true pandemic. Is you panicking? Well, no, it wasn't. So he's awful on this main issue. I've now added, thanks to the chat, Dr. Dre and Dr. Evil are doctors I would support before him. JR, like, is there any chance? Just he's got a big name. He's a wealthy guy. He's a known grifter. He's been mocked for a long time, rightfully so, for his grift and everything. But what do you think his odds are?
Pretty good. Hey, there's no more bad odds for insane people. Look who we talk about nearly all the time. Marjorie Taylor Greene and Boebert and Gates and Jim Jordan. All those guys are in office. They're in office. So, I mean, honestly, if I was advising Dr. Oz, I'd be like, you look much better than the rest of them. You should be able to get in on this. And by the way, if we're talking about panic attacks, my last quick thought. So we're concerned about panic attacks over people worrying about COVID. Are we concerned about people's panic attacks over their rent and their mortgage that they're losing their house over, or their jobs that they lost, or their kids getting sick, or lack of health care? Are we worried about people's panic attacks when they worry about those things that we're stripping them of? No, we don't care about that then, because it's not politically expedient for them.
Yeah,
panic attacks.
That is a great point. By the way, in April 2020, he said that opening schools may only cost us 2 to 3% in terms of total mortality. What are you talking about? Only 2 to 3% of the population? Jesus. Okay, Dr. Seuss, we're adding him. Let's see, we got any other doctors? You know what? Let's go with the Wizard of Oz. I would actually support him over this. Do not let this guy get into office. Do we have some kind of expectations? For more political news, breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.